Hi and welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Wednesday, the 28th of June. Here you can see I've got the tables in front of us. We've actually seen a decent bit of change to the tables over the past sort of few hours and overnight. We've actually seen the euro become one of the stronger currencies. I think if we flash back to yesterday, we started to see that on our 5 p.m. day traders table. But one thing that has changed for us really is that yen has seen a little bit of a turnaround. It was W1 and W2 yesterday, and it kind of stayed within that realm for a good while on our tables, but now we're starting to see it come back down into the W3s. Now, does that mean that that yen sort of weakness is at an end? There's a good potential for that. However, it still remains on the tables. It still is in that weak spot. It is still topping the weakness from a trend trader's perspective because that's the higher time frame outlook. So there is still some more evidence that yen could continue to weaken further, especially as we are approaching some real key levels across those charts. So that's something just to consider. Starting to see that little bit of weakness in those lower time frames, a little bit of strength in those lower time frames, I should say, sorry. And yeah, that's something we're going to be keeping our eyes on. However, euro has become the strongest currency. Aussie is now the weakest. We talked about an Aussie Swiss short. I managed to jump back in the Aussie Swiss short yesterday at the exact same prices that I was in before. So up around about 47 pips as I'm talking about this right now. At the moment, we actually came within 4 pips of our targets overnight, but we haven't actually seen those targets trigger yet. So waiting on that one to potentially come into play, and obviously still looking for some further opportunities potentially on that pair, because you can see that the Swiss franc is also the second strongest currency, but we'll see what happens on that one. But I'm going to focus on euro today. We're going to focus on our top pair, euro Oz, as it could be potentially heading higher. So you can see I'm on the daily chart on the right hand side here. We are currently trading at the 1.65 handle, but this market could potentially trade all the way up into the 1.6750, or at least the 1.67 handle, which were these highs that formed back in April, the 26th of April. So I'm looking to see if we can get some kind of movement up into that point. Now, if we look at our lower time frames for entry criteria as well, you know, where could we potentially enter this at a safe point? Now, if we kind of look backwards, what I like to look for is looking at those previous structure points. So I'm kind of looking in this area here, which is around about the 163 45s, 163.50s. So I'm kind of looking in and around that point there for a potential entry into this market. So we'll see if we can get that kind of move in and around there for a potential upside, because that obviously brings us in with contention of the support and resistance zone. So if I was just kind of look left from that area there, you can see all these highs and lows that have been in and around that point previously. If I was to add some kind of trend line support as well, just through here, you can see there's a little bit of trend line support. Actually, there's a couple of trend line supports kind of running through that area as well. So multiple confluences just to kind of get us in here. Let me just bring in the moving average as well. Let me just set it on the 4 hour for now as well. 4 hour a little bit behind, but if I was to go to the hourly chart, you can see that the hourly 50 is sitting around that area as well. So I'm actually looking around this 1.6370 handle for an entry. Our stop loss then can go below or near to these lows here. It puts us below one low there, but could also bring us in below these potential lows as well at 127. I'm going to open the move up to a potential of that 167.50. So if we were going to plan this out from a reward to risk point of view, let's say we entered on the 50 MA there and our stop loss was the 125, we've still got 1 to 3 risk reward ratio, which is perfect. So that's what I'm looking for there on euro Aussie. Euro Kiwi is also flagged to the New Zealand dollar weakening across the board. However, I don't see a particular safe entry into this one. You can see we kind of traded to the upside. We kind of exploded overnight. So we've rallied 244 pips. So that one isn't really ideal for an entry at the moment. We're at resistance 179.50s. If I look at the 4-hour, I'm trying to look for a safe entry here, and I can't see one until we kind of come back into the 1.78. Now, doesn't mean price isn't going to get back to the 1.78. In fact, you know, that's only 160 pips away, well within our ATR. So we could still see that type of pullback. But the 50 MA is nowhere near that area either. In fact, the 50 MA is around about 50 pips below that high. So there's no real sort of confluences for me at that point to get in. I think this one has just kind of taken off. I think what we need to do is maybe just wait to see if price does start to sort of weaken here and come back towards those previous highs. If it does, then we'll have the sort of same conversation again, I guess, and look for those kind of entry points into the market. But I can't see it pulling back just yet on this one, unfortunately. Now, Euro Yen is a bit different. Quite like Euro Yen to the upside. There are multiple levels of interest on this one. I was ideally looking for an entry around about the 156s yesterday, but price didn't pull back. Price has continued to trade higher, so I'm looking for a different type of entry now. So if we're looking at the hourly chart here, if I just move this zone up towards these lows here, there are multiple different confluences around this area, and it's around about the 157.10 is where I'm looking for a potential entry. So around about here, stop losses on this one, we need at least 128 pips. It's 84 pips below that low. 128 pips kind of brings us within that area. So I've actually just gone more with a 100 pip stop loss on this one. It's within the ATR, which isn't the sort of best, but we are still 158 pips away from the entry point, so it kind of is still within that ATR overall. So yeah, we'd need to see price, if price was going to move basically 128 pips, sorry, my mouse is going a bit wild here, if that will stop. If price was to pull back 128 pips, you know, it's right around those lows there, which we're covered by with our stop loss. So we've got the 50 MA running through there. We've got that support in low. We've got confluence with a trend line support as well. So that's the area where I'm really interested in getting involved. Again, risk to reward is fairly decent, just below a 1 to 2. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on Euro Yen. So either Euro Yen, EURAUD looks really good for some further opportunities. Aussie Swiss, like I said, came really close to our targets being at the 159.10, which is just here. We're about 4 pips or so away. Unfortunately, we're now 33 pips back from that, but we'll see if that one can continue lower, considering Aussie is our weakest currency here. So let's see how this one plays out. I quite like the idea of being long EURAUD. We'll see if we can get that pullback. If not, we may get we may get triggered into Euro Yen instead. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. So thanks for watching, guys, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.